Okay, welcome to another midweek madness. I haven't done this for a little while. Kind of not midweek madness. I had to delay it because I was doing some Christmas stuff yesterday with the family. So I had to hold this off to do more important things. Anyway, I figured out I can gift memberships for my channel. So I did that for this stream. So I thought I'd try to get some memberships and gift them out. I figured out how to do that, and I think it goes to the most active people on the channel. So I think that's how it worked, because I can see definitely one of the most active subscribers I have gotten a membership. So I'm assuming that's how it works. Anyway, I'll try to continue to gift out. I can only gift out 10 per month, so I'll gift out 10 memberships per month. But don't feel obligated to have to stick with that membership. I'm just gifting them out, trying to build up this community, try to do more live streams and just talk boxing and get some comments and get people chatting about boxing. So that's kind of my goal, and that's where I'm at with this. I've just got to be more consistent with actually going live. I've got a lot on in my normal day-to-day life and work and family and everything else. So unfortunately, I don't do this full time, and I don't even get paid for this. I haven't been paid since I've been monetized, I think, since April or May, but that's not why I do it. Anyway, so give the memberships. I'll keep them up and do 10 a month at least, as long as I stick to the live streams, which I'm sure I'll do because I'll be doing the fights as well. So let's move on to the fights in general, what's been going on. Yes, we seen the Opetaia fight, so versus Cinkara. That was an entertaining fight. It was an entertaining card. The card, I think, wasn't too bad. It was a decent card. In terms of the fight, it was a decent fight. It was a dominant fight. Hey James, how you going? You're welcome for the membership. I thought it was a dominant show from Opetaia, but he did have that scare in round 2, which I guess showed he was human. I think as I put this up, Cinkara's record, I think it's the cruiserweight division is kind of like the heavyweight division. There's some big boys, so it only takes one punch or a couple of punches before you can be dazed and hurt. So when you're talking about these heavier divisions like the cruiserweight division and the heavyweight division, you can have a lot of skill, but if you get hit with that one shot, that could end it all for you. That could end your night and put a stain on your career. So a bit of a shaky moment for Opetaia in that second round, but he got through it, and we have seen that from him in the past as well. But I think that resilience from him is pretty impressive. The fact that he can get hurt and also come back and then win the way that he did. And yes, Cinkara was hospitalized, I think, with bleeding to the brain, and that T1, I think it was, vertebrae break, or there was some fracture. So that's the damage that Opetaia actually did from the fight, and I think he came out of it just with a bit of a big mouse under his eye and no real damage for Opetaia. But Cinkara actually left the hospital, I think it was Tuesday. So, man, that punch was devastating. So, yeah, it did some damage, and just the way that it landed. I don't know if it was from just the punch. I'm sure it was probably from the punch and also the way he landed that actually put him in hospital with some bleeding. I'm assuming to the head or to some part of the head. And then, yeah, like I said, that vertebrae slight fracture or something like that, I think it was. So Cinkara moves to 23 wins, 19 knockouts, with that one loss and that devastating knockout from Opetaia. And Opetaia now moves to 29 wins, undefeated, 23 KOs. So moving on up, he just needs to gain those challenges that the people that actually have the belts. So that's obviously his goal. which he's finding hard to actually achieve because a lot of people are dodging him. And as I was told by yourself, James, about the Matchroom deal, so that was the last fight, I think, with some sort of link to Matchroom with Jai Opetaia, and I think that deal is done, which kind of, I guess, makes him a bit of a free agent. It doesn't mean he can't necessarily go back to Matchroom. I think it's just going to be dependent on what fights are available and who's offering them, to what direction he actually goes with who he's going to be fighting under. So interesting to see what's going to happen. And will Matchroom come back on board? Will there be a fight for Jai Opetaia where I'm sure he's the man of the division, so there's going to be someone that's interested in whether it's Matchroom again or who knows, Golden Boy, or probably not Golden Boy, but who knows? I'm sure one of the big promoters will definitely see Jai Opetaia as a good money maker. I think he just needs to be promoted well. Not that Matchroom didn't do a good job. It's just that there's too many people avoiding him. That's the issue. But I'm sure whoever he goes with will actually get a deal done with a unification. So Jai having the Ring Magazine and the IBF titles. And then, yep, so obviously Cinkara in hospital, mentioned that. He's out now. He was out Tuesday. So Jai Opetaia, I think the man of the division. I think most people think the man of the division. Ramirez. So Ramirez, there's all talk about Ramirez fighting David Benavidez. Yeah, okay, that's a decent fight, I think. But Ramirez has a fight before that, so... And I don't think he should really be looking past fighters already to fight a big fight like David Benavidez. So Ruben Safar is his next fighter, which I think Ramirez is a better fighter than him, but I think he still poses a threat. I think he's a bit more of a contender and someone that, who knows, might be able to snatch that belt off Ramirez. He might be able to impress everybody. Ramirez is getting a bit older, especially for his fight career. So we could see an upset there. It's not impossible. And that whole David Benavidez deal might just fall through if that happens. Will David Benavidez still want to fight Ramirez if he loses to Safar? Probably not. I think you'd be looking at someone more like Jai Opetaia if Ramirez does lose. And it could be a loss on points. It could be a loss via knockout. But if he does lose against an up-and-coming fighter, then that deal would definitely be in jeopardy. So Ramirez, don't look past your next opponent to David Benavidez because that could be your undoing. And then we continue in the cruiserweight division with a fight that's coming up. So, yep, here we go. Before I get ahead of myself, so Ruben Zafar, that's the guy that Ramirez is going to fight. So he's an undefeated fighter. And like I said, he's more of a contender fighter. So there's definitely a chance for him to win. 19 wins, 13 KOs, not a massive KO record, but he is an undefeated fighter. So, and I watched a bit of his fights just to do a bit of study on him. And he doesn't seem like a bad fighter. He's actually a pretty intelligent fighter. So I think Ramirez might be in for a night against him. I think Safar knows how to box. Good body work, really good left rips, really good body shots he can throw. Good on his feet as well. Good foot movement. So if Ramirez just thinks it's going to be an easy fight, it might not be. He might be thinking the wrong thing. So, but we'll see how that one goes. That's going to be an interesting one. So, yep. Then we've got Gilberto Ramirez, 48 wins, 1 loss. So, yep, extensive record. The guy's 34. With how many fights he's had, he's an aged boxer in terms of fights to an extent. I mean, he's no Canelo amount of fights, but he's up there with the fights, almost half a century of fights, just one away from half a century of fights. So yeah, and I think he is slowing down a little bit as he's getting older as well. So it wouldn't completely surprise me if Gilberto Ramirez loses against this contender. I do favor Ramirez, but it's not out of the realm of him losing. And then we go into sticking with the cruiserweight division on Saturday. I think it's Sunday for us in Australia. But we have the Badu Jack versus Mikalian fight. This is the rematch where Badu Jack won from a majority decision the last time they met. So this is going to be an interesting one, which way that belt goes, that WBC title in the cruiserweight division. I think for Opetaia, I think this is probably the fight you're more focusing on and challenging the winner of this fight, because you're not having any luck with Ramirez. So maybe if you have an additional belt, it might be a bit more enticing. And I kind of, like I've said in a previous video, I think that Gilberto Ramirez is more looking for that high-paying fight. And it's going to pay more if you have an undisputed title than if it's just a unification bout. So I think he wants Joe Opetaia maybe to make a bit more of a name for himself before actually stepping in the ring and taking that risk against him. That's a thought, I think. That's what I kind of think could be what's going on with Gilberto Ramirez. Might be wrong, don't know. It's just a thought. But anyway, this one's going to be an interesting one. I think their last fight was very close, and the judges, it showed on the judges' scorecard as well with the majority decision to Badu Jack. Badu Jack versus Noel Mikalian, WBC champion, reportedly. Opetaia gets the winner. Oh, there you go, James. Thanks for that info. So yeah, and this is the one that Opetaia would want to be focusing on. So if you have no luck against Gilberto Ramirez, then forget about him. There's another belt, so go for this one. And I think he definitely has a better shot, or this is an easier title to go for. Not that these two fighters are pushovers, but I think maybe Ramirez is a bit more of a tougher fighter than one of these two by a touch maybe. So this is the belt that I think Opetaia, well, apparently is going for. So let's watch this one and see who comes out the victor and potentially will be Opetaia's next opponent. And finally, Opetaia gets to fight some good competition. And then moving past that, we have Tim Tszyu fighting in Australia once again against Velasquez. So looking at this one on paper, it looks like an even fight. And I think it kind of is. I know I think Tim Tszyu's doing the right thing by dropping his trainers and his family and everyone around him to go train and actually focus on gaining a trainer that has that background of getting world titles or producing world champions. So I think he's gone down the right path for that, but it doesn't necessarily it doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to just come out of it a great fighter and he's going to be a world champion again and all that jazz. I think it's up to Tim. He has to prove himself, and I think this fight is kind of a stepping stone, sort of, to an extent. I mean, you're fighting a bit of a threat with an undefeated fighter, only one draw, a bit of a contender. So this is going to be to see if Tim Tszyu can prove himself that he can get back onto the world stage, but depending on how he goes in this fight and what he proves in this fight. I'm still, I don't know, with Tim Tszyu, I'm a bit concerned with his confidence. I think he's lost multiple times. He's got the 3 losses now, and each time he's come back confident. And it just seems like every time he's come back a little bit overconfident. So, and leading up to this fight, I kind of see a bit of that as well. A bit of overconfidence. I don't know. I don't know if that's what's been his undoing. Like, it wouldn't just be that, but I don't know if that overconfidence isn't helping him, I don't think. I think he just needs to be grounded and just focus on what he's doing and then just fight the fight. And that's it. Don't worry about the media. Don't worry about being some sort of, I don't know, figure in front of the media. Just focus on the fight. I think there's too much. I guess it's all, I don't want to say facade, but it kind of feels like that at sometimes. With some people and how they sort of speak in front of the camera with fights. And sometimes I get that sort of vibe with Tim. So I don't know. Maybe he's overconfident for a reason. Or maybe he's confident for a reason, I should say. But we will see with this one. I think Tim has a bit of a way to come back from the 3 losses. And if you look at his record now, it's not looking too good for him. Although they have been against world title, either contenders or world title holders, it's still 3 losses on your record. And yes, I do get that. It was his corner that did have a big part in it as well. That Fondora first fight, that shouldn't have gone as long as it did. That was a bit too much. And then obviously the Bakram Mardazaliev, that it should have been stopped earlier, I think, to sort of protect him. And he wasn't doing the right thing. And again, he was way overconfident before that fight. And it just seemed like he was definitely looking past Mardazaliev. So it was like the guy wasn't even in front of him. But anyway, we'll see. Pedro Diaz and Tim Tszyu been working on sport psychology. Well, there you go. And I think that's probably a big part, and that's probably what he needs as well. Because most people in boxing, that's that majority of it's a mental game. If you can get that mental game right, then you do all the work in the gym and you have a good trainer and you're able to train the right way for your opponent, then you rarely go wrong. And it's like I mentioned before, I think that psychology is a big part of it. And even I remember seeing that interview where he said that he doesn't watch his opponents. He doesn't study his opponents. So yeah, that was a bit of a concern. I don't know if they're doing that now. Maybe that's something else that they might implement. And that's part of the psychology as well, really. That's how I see it. Study your fighter, know your enemy, know their moves. And then it's just a lot easier come fight night because you can already envision what you can do, their flaws, their mistakes. So I hope he does go well. I'm obviously in his corner. I'm backing him, and I hope he goes well. So let's see how much of a change, how much of a difference this Pedro Diaz makes for Tim Tszyu. And if it does make a big difference, everyone's going to be pointing the finger at Tim's previous managers and trainers. So that's going to be interesting. Anyway, look forward to that one, 17th of December. So another one in Australia. I think this is the first fight he's had in 3 years in Australia. It's going to be in Sydney. Maybe I can get some media access. We'll see if I have time. Might try. Okay, the last fight I'm going to talk about. This is probably the last sort of bigger or big fight for the year, I think. Apart from Inouye, which I think is on the 28th of December. Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. What more can you say about this? I just can't see Jake Paul winning. I can see Anthony Joshua knocking out Jake Paul. Although I don't think AJ is top of the food chain in the heavyweight division, he's still levels above Jake Paul in terms of his boxing skills and power and his whole boxing game. So yeah, this it's going to be entertaining. I'm actually looking forward to this, and I think it's. I kind of think it might be a career ender for Jake Paul, but maybe not. I mean, all Jake Paul has to say is like, "Huh, I got knocked out against AJ. What do you expect?" This is gonna make a lot of money. He's risking it. Like, he's got guts. Like, you have to say that, but it might be a career ender, because then I think a lot of the casual fans are gonna see him get knocked out, and then him hyping himself up and talking about how good he is, they're all going to be put back to reality and realize, oh wait, he's not that good. He shouldn't be fighting against a former world champion. Imagine if Jake Paul finds a lucky KO punch. Oh man, like that. It's not impossible. We know AJ's been hurt in the past, and that's that's a scary thought. It can happen, and I don't know. I think Jake Paul has power for a division lower than the heavyweights, but I think as he moves up and he's in the heavyweight division, I don't know. I don't know if his power is strong enough to knock out a top level heavyweight. But if he's going to do it to anyone, he's probably going to do it to AJ, because we've seen it happen a few times to AJ in the past. And we know there's a spot on AJ that just gives him those wobbly legs. So I guess we'll see. But I think either way, this is gonna. I know it's a bit of a circus, but I'm kind of looking forward to it. It's going to be interesting. We know we're going to see something. I don't see Jake Paul winning at all, but I think the only way he can win is by knockout, because I think AJ is definitely a better boxer. Jake Paul is a smaller guy, and AJ can just keep him on the back of the jab if you really wanted to, jab him all night. He could just start throwing. He could throw straight punches all night. Stick behind the jab, double jab right hand. Just look for those right hands as you did, as you do with the shorter fighter. So it's a tough one for Jake Paul. I think it's going to be a tough night for him, but who knows? Either way, I think it's going to be a big, entertaining fight, and it's going to be a big shock value fight, because I reckon most likely Jake Paul's going to get knocked out. But if Jake Paul does win, the only way he will win is probably knocking out AJ, which I don't know. I struggle to see that happening, even with AJ's from time to time weak chin. But we will see. We will see. It's going to be interesting. And yep, so that's about it. That's all the fights that are coming up. So I just wanted to have a quick chat about the upcoming fights, the previous fights that we've had with Opetaia and Cinkara. It was a good live stream. And I will be looking at doing couple of live streams with the fights before the end of the year. I think this one's definitely a goer. So Tim Tszyu, yeah, I think I'll be doing that one too. But yeah, I'll be doing a few more live streams. And the next live stream I do, I'll put out a few more memberships as well. I want to continue the ball rolling, keep throwing out those memberships, and yeah, keep building this community. And you guys get involved with the comments and everything else. And yeah, keep it interesting. James, fancy training for Tank, switching to AJ, crazy stuff. Yeah, and that that is the crazy thing. You're looking to fight an opponent that's so small in terms of Tank, and your tactics are completely different, and then that has to change because Netflix doesn't want it, and then you turn to an opponent where you're pretty much the size of Tank compared to you. That's what it was like. It's like the roles were reversed. So pretty hilarious stuff. But it's going to be interesting. I'm definitely going to watch this one. It's going to be entertaining. I don't know what the undercard is. I think I had a bit of a glimpse on the undercard, but generally they have decent fights on the Jake Paul fights, like the undercard. So I think the whole thing should be pretty interesting in general. But yeah, I'll be looking forward to that. couple more live streams I'll be doing before the end of the year. A couple of live commentary with the fights. And I'll do probably a couple more of these as well. I'll try and keep it probably Wednesday, Thursday sort of time frame. But I'll keep you guys posted, and I'll make sure I have it up well before I actually go live. Anyway, that's it. Just wanted to have a quick chat about previous fights that have happened and fights that are coming up. Thank you guys. Thanks everyone. I'll throw out those memberships soon when the next live stream comes up. And until next time, peace out, guys. Thank you.